Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, for kind of an end of the year extravaganza where I talk about some of the awesome things that happened this year, as well as some of the things that I have planned for the coming year. So there's no gameplay today. We're just gonna have a conversation because the channel has come a very long way this year. And why don't we start by taking a look at just that? All right, data nerds. Let's start by looking at some numbers here. First, as of just a couple of weeks ago, I hit a total lifetime view count of 5 million on my YouTube channel, which is kind of wild. We're at about 17,000 subscribers now, and this is kind of a snapshot of what has happened this year. And if you kind of look at some of these numbers side by side, it paints a really good picture for the channel, right? So in 2022, I had about 3 million views of my 5 million lifetime views, right? That means 3/5 of the views I've ever gotten on this channel happened in the last year. That's over half. That is a fantastic sign of growth. Similarly, 8,000 of my subscribers, of my 17,000 subscribers, are from the last year. That's about half. That means that I am having this like awesome period of growth and people are digging the content. And if you don't mind me bragging on myself a little bit, I think the content has improved a lot in the last year. Editing's gotten a little bit sharper. I've gotten a little bit better at kind of narrating things, figuring out what I should and shouldn't be cutting from videos, and I feel like things have gone well as a whole. Another thing that's nice here is that I get to see that I got the most views in July. While conceptually, you might be thinking, hey, shouldn't your most views be coming in December? Well, July was my try hard month where I was absolutely full time as a content creator. So, what that shows me is that if I put in more work, I am going to be rewarded for that. And if I start thinking about full time content creation in the not too distant future, more on that in a second, it does bode well for me. In terms of the things the viewers really liked seeing this year, these were my top three. So obviously, people like seeing the trophy runs, right? Especially when they're with an underdog deck. So it's not surprising that like my Yokel Hops 5.0 and my Pox video with actual factual Pox took off when I did well with them. Another thing that I'm noticing is that people really like to see new breakout decks. So the most toxic deck video was the 8 mulch deck right as it was kind of breaking out. And similarly, right now, people have been really interested in the initiative deck lists as that's kind of new emerging tech. So one of the things that I'm going to keep in mind moving forward is that if I can have cutting edge videos with some of the like latest and greatest things that are coming out of challenges or decks that really showcase new cards from the newest set, I'll try to push those forward as much as I can to get those into your hands as soon as possible. Like the viewers are speaking, I know what you want loud and clear. In the short term here, I've got a couple of things on my agenda that I wanted to really make sure you all were aware of. Number one, a lot of people have asked, like, hey, Phil, when can I meet you? When can you sign some cards? MagicCon Philly in February is going to be a really good opportunity for many of you not from like the immediate Charlotte area to get a chance to meet me. I'm currently waiting to see whether or not my content creator pass is going to be approved for whether I'm there on official business or not, but I'm planning on being there either way. So consider adding that to your schedule if you want a chance to, get in a game of EDH with Phil or just kind of chat and play some Legacy. In terms of other stuff, I got super, super positive responses to the articles that I was writing on the initiative via Patreon. So I'm going to commit moving forward that I am going to have at least one article per month on Patreon moving forward. I want to make sure the people who have subscribed really get their money's worth out of that. And I enjoyed doing some writing. I got a lot of positive comments like, hey, I did well at my tournament because of you. Like, hey, this advice was really important for me. And I want to make sure that I keep building up those relationships with people through my Patreon. All right, so let's look forward to the future. Every summer, I become a full time content creator for the summer, and let's talk about what I'm going to do when I have a little bit more time. Number one, I have had a lot of requests for some EDH or cEDH content on my actual channel. That, in some capacity, is coming in the future. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like yet. I think it probably ties into thing number two in some way. I want to be more active with the members of my Discord community. The Discord is booming. I believe we're north of 150 people at this point, and I think it would be really fun to kind of have an EDH night with my Discord members where I sit down and I play a bunch of pods with a bunch of the people that I've gotten to know kind of indirectly over the last couple of years. More generally, I would like to do a few more things for my Discord. I've got some budding plans. Not quite ready to talk about all of those yet, but cool things are coming. Next up, I want to expand my current tutoring program. As of right now, I have time for one or two tutoring sessions a month. Over the summer, I plan on kind of formalizing that and streamlining that, and I'm going to kind of help teach some of the people that have asked me, like, hey, do you have time for tutoring? I want to help more of those people. I'm not 100% sure how many tutoring sessions I'm going to have time for, but I plan on adding a tab to my website to kind of make booking all of that significantly easier than it is now. Next up, I want to revisit streaming. And I'm not sure if I'm going to go back to Twitch or if I'm going to try some of the streaming on YouTube, but I have loved being a YouTuber versus a Twitch streamer. Like that has been so much better for me and my like planning and mental health and all of that stuff. But I do kind of miss interacting with people and getting to know, the regulars, so to speak. Because right now, like many of you, I recognize your usernames from your, daily comments or whatever, but I've never had a chance to really like sit down and have a conversation with you. And I want to stream something a little bit as a way to kind of get to know some people a little bit better. That's one of the things I've really found by playing more EDH online is like there's very much an aspect of like the human side of magic or streaming or content creation. That's wonderful. But when I'm just recording with someone's deck list, I don't really get a chance to get to know them, right? And I kind of miss that. I may end up doing a little bit of streaming of some stuff other than Magic the Gathering as a way to just kind of chill, play some games, jam some Hades, some Celeste, some Monster Train, Vampire Survivors, or whatever, while just hanging out with some people and chatting about, bands or legacy or your interests. Not sure exactly what that's going to look like yet, but that's something that I've wanted to do for a while, and I just have no time for it right now. All right, the next one is pretty exciting. I'm going to have some custom tokens made of some kind. Um, my good friend Brian Boschenroll made some wonderful tokens for his channel and like some proxy cards for EDH decks, and I intend on doing the same. I in fact had started that process and was hoping to have them done by MagicCon Philly. However, the artist that I was planning on using had some personal issues and is no longer making or doing art commissions at this time. So that has been put on hiatus until I have time to find another artist that I want to work with. But as of right now, I'm thinking that I want to have a treasure token made with like the power 9 on it. And I think I want some sort of a soul ring or other very common commander staple done as well. One of the things that people have asked me for is like, hey Phil, can we have a long-term schedule of when videos are appearing? And this is one of those things that has been a little overwhelming for me to keep up with. I do a lot right now. The content creation that I do is at minimum 20 hours a week worth of work, and it's honestly probably more than that. And one more little thing doesn't sound bad, but every time I accept something, it kind of keeps me from accepting something else in the future. So long term, I am planning on having like a weekly schedule post with like all my thumbnails laid out of like what the week is going to be. I just don't quite have the time or energy to do that as of right now when I'm also doing teaching full time. Beyond that, I am going to kind of explore some additional sponsorships so that I can do some more things with the channel that I'm currently not capable of doing now due to, things like funding limitations. I have some cool ideas, maybe some giveaways, maybe some traveling, One of the things that I've really thought about is just kind of doing a tour of the entire East Coast, just kind of going from game store to game store, just jamming some games of Legacy or Commander or whatever with people along the way. But it's kind of financially hard to take a week or probably much more than that off of work to do something like that. So we'll see what I can make happen when I have time to explore sponsorships a little bit further. Just saying, you own a business, you want 10,000 plus eyes on your things, we can talk. And speaking of talking, people have asked me for a long, long time to do some merch. It's coming. I have a personal copy made for myself of a Thraben University playmat. I think it looks pretty sharp. I did it through a very popular commons site, and one of the things that I need to figure out is how do I turn this, which was like $30+ for me, into something that I can make reasonably priced for you all. I don't have the time to figure that out right now, but that's something that I want to do. I also have a t-shirt design that is more or less good to go, and I just need to kind of talk to the artist, kind of figure out like, hey, how much of this do you want? What's fair? How do I go about making these, printing these, shipping these? I don't have time or the mental energy to figure that out right now. That is kind of on the long-term plans. And more generally, here's kind of the big one. I am considering two very big lifestyle changes in the not too distant future. Number one, and this is going to start as of January 1st, I'm going to be looking to buy a house. I need more space than what I have now for content creation. So here's an example of that. This green screen that I pulled up for this portion of the video. This was something that I planned on doing so that I could look a little bit more professional while I am on stream or while I am recording. And one of the things that I realized is that if I want this to look really good, not just like acceptable, if I want this to look really good, I need lighting on both sides of it. And currently, this room just isn't wide enough for me to do that comfortably while still holding all the other things I need for my business and the things my girlfriend needs for her business as well. So I am looking to have a full, proper office with a better setup, maybe like a standing desk, some things like that in the not too distant future. And number two, once that happens, I'm going to be considering going full-time content creator. I'm not 100% ready to pull the trigger on that yet, as like I am thinking about buying a house and that sort of thing needs to come first. I need to get that figured out. But it's pretty likely in the next 1 to 2 years, or maybe 6 months to 2 years, that this will become a full-time job instead of a part-time job. So no formal announcement of that yet, but it is definitely something that I am thinking about if like the support levels and the financial stuff makes sense in order for me to do so. And while I don't necessarily want to turn this video into an ad for my content, the people who are taking the time to watch this have probably heard most of this stuff before. These are the best ways that you can choose to support me. In terms of like reoccurring things, the Patreon support and the YouTube member support is great because like that shows me like, hey, I have month to month stable income. I can look at those numbers and go like, oh, okay, things are good. I can expect this much every month. But the real lifeblood of the channel is obviously the donation deck lists. Like that's how I make a good portion of my money between like that, sponsorships, and YouTube ads. That kind of is what is making this a stable part-time job for me for now, and maybe something a little bit more in the future if things go well. On that note, the Dealer's Choice donation deck lists are one of the single best ways that you can choose to support me, because as a reminder, like every time that I get to play with like the new tech that people are really excited about, those videos are likely to do well. And a lot of times I just kind of do those out of pocket, so to speak. So the Dealer's Choice donation deck list, those matter a whole lot, as do submitting brews that have cool new cards in them. Why don't we call that good enough as far as a plug for my content goes? And to wrap this up, I just want to say thank you to my viewers here. Like between your daily support and the support of the people who have sponsored me, such as Cardhoarder and Moxfield and Cardsphere, like I have been able to turn like one of my passion projects, making legacy content, into something that like supports me and something that I might actually be able to make a living off of. And that's crazy to me. If you would have told me at the beginning of this year, like, "Hey, Phil, you're gonna have 5 million YouTube views by the end of the year," I would have just like laughed and said like, "No, that's not possible." But it is, and it's not just because of the stuff that I'm doing. It's because like I have a great community of people who has chosen to like watch my stuff on a daily basis and support me. So genuinely from the bottom of my heart, thank you for tuning in every day. Thank you for watching this video. Like it means a lot. And I hope you all have had a great holiday season. I wish you a happy new year. Whatever other holidays you haven't celebrated yet, I hope they go well for you. And here's to hoping for an absolutely spectacular 2023, not just for me and my YouTube channel, but for you and your families as well. With that, I'm going to be getting on a plane shortly to visit Illinois for about a week. So I'm going to take a week off of recording, but don't worry, you won't notice any content interruptions. I've recorded ahead because I care about you all. And I want to make sure that you have some fun videos to watch to distract you from the woes of the world and all that stuff. So cheers, Happy New Year's, and I will see you again soon.